Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the Style Table, where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style. Hey everybody, it is Yo on the Go back here at the Style Table, and today I'm with my special guest, Telfany Morgan. She is a consultant for the federal government, and she's also a leadership coach for Spellman College. She's going to talk about what she does with the government, her consulting business, and also how she's a leadership coach that's helping and encouraging and supporting and helping young women at Spellman College see their dreams. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Let's talk some fashion.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you about what you do as a consultant to start out with for the federal government.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I actually am a consultant. And so what I do is I basically just kind of go in and I help people look at their emergency management processes and procedures. And I try to make them understand that, life safety measures are super important. And so I go in and I help them kind of revise and reform that to make sure that their workforce is safe. They're able to maintain their business if an emergency or a disaster happens, and that they're able to kind of sustain if something does happen. This pandemic has really taken everybody by storm. And there were a lot of organizations, there were a lot of companies, both big and small, that haven't been able to kind of sustain. And as a result, they've had to go out of business. So I kind of go in and I help companies look at their bottom line and say, hey, what do we need to do in case a fire happens or in case, something happens and we're not able to function. So I kind of go in and I help them help themselves.
Wow. That's coming from the airline industry. Yeah. I retired with Delta Airlines. So speaking of emergency management and not that the airlines need that very often, but like you said, with COVID and all the things happening, I retired because of COVID. So companies are all in transition, different, like you said, transportation companies, anybody that needs emergency management, which all companies do because they have to get out of buildings, hotels. Everybody needs to have that management advice and consultants to help them think things through in a way that's going to save them money.
Yeah, go in and look at it from a totally different perspective. You're absolutely correct.
Now, because you work for the federal government, we're going to dip into style a little bit.
Okay.
Since COVID, and the federal government is your client, so you have to, people wore probably more stodgy suits, more conservative suits in the federal government because there seems to be more red tape and more order and structure.
Sure.
Do you see that people, since it's post-COVID, we're kind of in the endemic situation? Do you feel like people are loosening up and not coming back as neat and buttoned up?
So I'm looking at it from a couple of perspectives, right? And I think keeping in mind that a lot of organizations are not fully open 100%. So they're working on hybrid models now, right? And so that means you may come in 2 days a week, you may come in 3 days a week. And so that really kind of lets people be a little bit more lax, And so with that, yeah, people are going to come in, not necessarily business casual. Right. So they may come in a little bit more casual, and it's not going to be your button down shirt, but it may be your polo with 2 or 3 buttons at the top, and they're not going to wear the hard bottom shoes, right? They're going to wear, some soft bottom slides or something of the sort. So I have noticed a bit of a change there. Now, do I think that change is going to stay? Absolutely not. I think that once we kind of come out of this whole endemic part of the pandemic and we go back to what people call new normal, I think it's going to say, okay, we have, contracts we have to sign, we have clients we have to meet with, we have business that has to be conducted. So let's get back to the suit and the tie, what you're used to doing. So I think we're on that casual side of things, but I don't think it's going to stay around for long.
And as a public speaker, have you noticed your audience? Because it sounds like to me that you haven't changed how you're showing up.
Right. No, you can't change if you're the one in the spotlight and if you're the one that's delivering the message and you're the one that people are paying to see or they're coming to see voluntarily. They want to see what they're used to seeing. They don't care that a pandemic has happened. Now, that doesn't change the way that they show up because, of course, my audience has kind of started showing up in jeans. Right. And, they're not as best dressed as they once were. But that still does not stop me as the public speaker that I am from delivering the message that I know that they came to see. Because it just kind of if it's in you, it's in you, and so if you have a little bit of style sense, if you have a little bit of fashion sense, it's gonna come out. I'm sorry, you're gonna put on a t-shirt and some jeans or maybe some slacks, and then you're gonna dress that up with a nice bag and some shoes, and you're not even trying it. So so no, that kind of hasn't changed for me at all.
So yes, you're a fashionista, so you know that you've got to come correct. And besides that, being a public speaker, people expect you to be the expert.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So they don't expect you to look like them.
Correct.
Because you're delivering the information. So that is an important thing. And you also mentioned, we talked earlier about how, like you said you started from the local sector.
Correct. Yes.
So you were used to seeing people in uniform and now you're on the federal side and it is, there's a difference. Have you seen anybody who else has moved from those positions and have they transitioned and upscaled their professional look?
So, it's funny because working on that local side really helped me as I transitioned to the federal side. And what I mean by that is when I started working on the local side, not knowing, a whole lot, I would get up and I would present and I would have on a shirt that was sleeveless, not T-strap, but sleeveless. That is not fashion. I mean, that's when you're presenting, you kind of want to make sure that you're covered so that if you turn to the side, you're not going to expose anything, right? And so I learned a lot from coming from that local side. And so I brought that over with me. And so when I was presenting on the local side, of course, it was a lot of people in uniform. And they're very strict and they're very hierarchical and they are by the book and they are used to creases. And if I wanted to wear a design or a pattern or a floral print, I had to keep in mind the audience and how that may be portrayed. So again, just working on that local side helped me understand my body size and my body type. And again, ruffles and pleats are not my friend, because when you're presenting, there may be someone who was recording and you look a lot bigger on record. So that again, just I can't stress enough how working on that local side helped me really and truly learn a lot about knowing my audience and then figuring out myself by angles and things of that sort. So yeah.
So that was so real. And I love it because you're speaking to all of us who, sometimes we think, oh, I'm going to wear that. That looks good. I'm just going to go ahead and rock it. And then you see it on camera like, ooh, what was I thinking? That's happened to us all.
Yes.
That's as a wardrobe strategist, my job is to help you
I love it.
decrease the number of times those things happen. When we come back from the break, we're going to continue our conversation with Telfany Morgan about her role as a leadership coach for Spellman College.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, it's Yo Taylor here back at the Style Table with Telfany Morgan. She is a federal consultant, and she's also a leadership coach for Spellman. And now we're going to talk about what she does as a leadership coach, some of the things that she teaches and trains our young leaders at Spellman.
Awesome. Thank you, Yolanda. Yeah. So it's been such a beautiful journey being a leadership coach at Spellman College this past semester, because it's helped me to kind of really help the young ladies with looking better on paper, as well as getting ready for their mock interviews, because this is their first time, a lot of their first time interviewing. And so just helping them understand what their hair should look like, how it's important to be on time, even down to what colors you should wear at that interview, especially if it's virtual. It has just been really and truly amazing. And so having the ability to be just a little bit of guidance to these ladies, help them secure an internship, help them create their resumes, and helping them understand looking good on paper is one thing, looking good in person is another, has really and truly helped them. I can literally feel it. So it's been an amazing journey. So.
Because those things work hand in hand, because when you first walk in the door, the first impression is being made. And then if you couple walking in the door looking like you know what you're doing and you're going to be great at your job and you're confident, and you couple that with what's on paper, bam, that's the 1-2 punch, right?
Yes. Absolutely. That's what's going to go ahead and solidify you and put you one step ahead, and probably get your foot in the door when the others are just going to kind of still be looking in the window, as I like to tell them. Right. So, yeah, don't wear a plaid shirt to the interview, if it's virtual, just make sure you look good from the top up, so.
Right. Just, put on a dress, just in case you accidentally stand up. I've had so many stories about people on Zoom that stood up and forgot.
Yes.
So those are some scary stories. So you don't want to have those things happen to you as well. But you're right. Just having a jacket by you, even if you wear like a t-shirt underneath that jacket, put some pearls on.
Correct.
No one's expecting you to show up in sequins, but correct. Just, show up with little pieces of jewelry, subtle jewelry, and you're ready to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. And again, so, my young ladies, really quickly, they're very impressionable because they're sophomores, right? And so again, this is kind of their first time. Some of them being away from home. It's some of their first time creating a resume. It's definitely some of their first times speaking in an interview. And so I've gotten some late night phone calls, right? And some late night emails and saying, hey, I've got this tomorrow, And so it's really and truly just been a pleasure just to kind of be a guiding light for them. And I think a lot more of that is needed. Because I know they say this in the educational system, but I think it's universal. Each one teach one, and so I think that really and truly resonates, with this leadership coach position.
See, and that's a whole different gear from your consulting on emergency management. And it sounds like when you're kind of doing that too as a leadership coach when you're answering calls and emails late at night. Because for a sophomore trying to get a job or an internship, that is an emergency.
Yes, it is. Because you want it for them as bad as they want it themselves. So, yes.
Right. So what you're doing is right and it's good and it's helpful.
Yes.
And what a blessing to be such a help and a guiding force in a young person's life. It has to be so fulfilling.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And they get a chance to kind of see me on social media, and they will, some of my public speaking engagements, they've kind of gone back and listened to or watched. And it's amazing how when we get together, they'll say, oh, Miss Morgan, I like the way that you had so-and-so on, or, and I'm like, well, thank you, because that was a spur of the moment outfit, but thank you. So, yes.
But once you know what fits you well, and like you said, it's a learning process. Like you said, you know that ruffles and pleats you don't feel like you look good in those.
Correct.
I'll just put it that you feel like you don't, but it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Everybody else might have said, oh, you look fabulous. But if you don't feel like you look good in it, that's all that matters. You're not going to perform well if someone says, okay, you have to get up and do a speech. Oh, here's this ruffle skirt, or here's this pleated skirt. You're gonna like, no, I'm gonna wait until you come back with what I need. So that definitely matters. Now, when you're speaking to these young women, do you do a public speaking to them? Do you do it in large groups or trainings, or how do you do that?
So typically it's in a more intimate setting. So it's more close-minded. So it's typically like 8 girls at one time, which is easier for your span of control, right? Because it helps you if they have issues, and it helps you to really and truly gain their trust, and it helps them to kind of really attach to you, which is the whole goal, for you to be that someone that they can go to and reach out to for things that they may not have someone else to reach out to for. So am I prepared? And I'm definitely adaptable to having more, but 8 at a time is a really good number because they're all majoring in different things. And so they may have a workload that they're having a hard time managing, or they, and so it really helps. And so I tell them all the time, I say, look, when I am in the process of buying either a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton bag, I'm going to do my research on the resale value of each one. So I'm going to help you do your research on your courses, right? So we're going to do this thing together, right? So I try to make, I try to give analogies to them to be as close to them as possible, right? And as tangible as possible. So, yeah.
See, and that's so real. And the resale on Louis Vuittons and Gucci bags are high. It's a good investment. It's a good investment. Yeah. And a good resource is to check it out on the Real, because I was surprised. I was like, wow.
I got to get into that.
You might decide to keep your bag. I feel this is worth too much. I'm going to keep it. So, Telfany, now I would like for you to tell us, first off, what is your signature style?
Okay.
Color. What is a part of your signature style when you do public speaking?
So that's a really good question. So my favorite color is orange, and I'll say that because, and it's interesting because, and people say, oh my God, you're so out there, you're outlandish. My favorite color is orange for a number of reasons. I think the color of orange represents change, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you think about, the sunset or the sunrise at some point,
Mm-hmm.
it's the color of orange, right? And that's because
Right.
the day is changing tonight or the night is changing today. When you think about fall and leaves changing colors, it's changing from one season to the next. There's going to be a little bit of orange. When you think about a fire that happens, fire at some point is the color orange and something is changing from its original form to, its burnt form. So orange is just my favorite color because it represents change, right? Now, does orange look good on me when I'm public speaking? Publicly speaking, probably not. But my signature lipstick is red. I
Okay.
gotta have the Ruby Woo from that because that is my signature lip color. And probably the signature style would be like a A-line skirt, right? Because I know
Mm-hmm.
my body type, and that's gonna work well for me. With probably with an 85 millimeter heel, something that's very manageable to kind of walk around in because I like to walk around and like to talk with my hands. I'm really animated. That keeps the audience engaged. But that's kind of going to be my signature style. Yeah.
Now we are at the end of our show. I do want to know how we can get in contact with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I am accessible by email. You can reach me at telfany.morgan@gmail.com, and that's spelling T as in Tom, EL, F as in Frank, ANY.morgan@gmail.com. And I will answer you within 24 hours.
Awesome. And as you guys know, you can always reach me at thestyletable.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube at the Style Table LLC on YouTube.